The Dark Souls series is pretty infamous. Games known for being controller-smashingly hard but rewarding, harsh but fair. For those of you out of the loop, Dark Souls is an action RPG with a focus on merciless boss battles joined together with some good old-fashioned trash farming and even a few roguelike elements thrown into boot. I've got to be honest with you guys though, I never really understood why they were so goddamn popular. You see, when Dark Souls first released, I grabbed it on the Xbox 360 and I hated it. I liked the idea of a proper hard game where you had to really figure out the mechanics to succeed, but my first impressions of the Souls games were ugly graphics, clunky movement, and terrible frame rates. I returned the game to whence it came from and got my refund and went merrily on with my life, never wanting to play another Souls game. Ever. Then the reviews start coming in, giving anywhere from 8 to 10 out of 10. Was I missing something? Could I no longer tell if a game was good? Or had all these reviewers somehow been paid off to give false scores? Turns out, thankfully, it was none of these things. The best way I can put it is that playing Dark Souls is a bit like watching a cult classic movie. It either clicks with you, or you're gonna hate it. Now, if you are a Souls veteran, then this review isn't really aimed at you. You no doubt love the games despite all their flaws, and this review is for people like myself, who never gave the series a chance because of the aforementioned criticisms. Recently, Dark Souls 3 dropped to $9.99 on a Steam sale, and it might just be the best tenner I ever did spend. I get it now. I finally get it. I think the things that Dark Souls 3 takes from Bloodborne, also from developer From Software I should add, makes it a lot more palatable for non-Souls fans. It's faster, better looking and smoother than its predecessor, but it's still bloody hard. If you die in this game, then it is your own fault, and you need to learn your lessons from any errors you make, or face the notorious "you have died" scream again, and again, and again. And yep, that's me dead again. Oh, you little... Attacks are telegraphed, and you really want to spend the first few encounters dying just so you can see where you need to be when these attacks are launched. I rolled about 5 or 6 starter classes trying to find a decent setup, only to later learn that the class literally only determines your starting gear, and a few hours into the game you basically build the character how you see fit. Favouring more swift and agile types, I rolled the Mercenary because she started with dual scimitars, and I'm quite partial to some slice and dice action. But later on I built more towards an assassin orientated spec with dual daggers and lighter armour. I have to say I've had a lot of fun playing this game. Don't get me wrong though, I've been smashed, crushed, splattered and sliced enough to drive a man to despair, as well as falling to my death more than a few times due to my own stupidity. But I keep soldiering on, and so far, I've only smashed 1 controller. The premise of the game is pretty simple. Farm souls, which is the currency for levelling up in items etc, by killing enemies until you are strong enough to take down the next boss. Rinse, repeat and progress. There is a story, but I'm buggered if I could tell you what it is. Something about darkness and fire and some lords, blah blah blah. Graphically, it's still not The Witcher 3 or The Breath of the Wild, but it's more than acceptable, and with decent mod support on the PC I managed to get it looking pretty damn good if I do say so myself. The audio is great though, lots of eerie music, heavy clangs where steel meets steel, it's all really immersive. I have encountered a few problems, the biggest of which is the lock-on target button also being the center camera button, so at times when you really need to target that grotty skeleton bugger charging with a sword big enough to make Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII jealous, the camera doing a full 180 and leaving you blind to his attacks are more than a little frustrating. Thankfully none of the bugs are actually game-breaking, but I guarantee you if this happens to you in the middle of a boss fight, it will give you the rage. So to summarise, Dark Souls 3 has improved drastically from its predecessors, and I would urge anyone who thought they would like the series but found Dark Souls 1 or 2 to be, well, a bit crap, to actually try this one out. The character building is actually quite deep, there's hours of gameplay here without ever touching the DLC, and even PvP if you're so inclined. My stance on Souls games has changed so dramatically that I'm even now eyeing up the likes of Nioh, Bloodborne, and even the new kid on the block, Code Vein. A whole new genre of games I'd previously written off has been opened up to me, and it's a great feeling. So the weird final score for Dark Souls 3? 9 out of 10. A great game, flawed, but still great.